I'm Amy, sex educator, somatic sex and relationship coach, and sex shop owner.
And I'm April, VP of an international high-end pleasure products company and boss queen sex toy mogul. We're best friends who make our own rules about who we are as sexual beings.
With everything from how to be a badass in the bedroom to top tips for bringing your relationship to the next level, we have something just for you.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Don't forget to head on over to our website at shamelesssex.com for more. And for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code SHAMELESSPP in all caps at purepleasureshop.com. Hello, everyone.
Hiya, party people.
It is bonus episode, sex question time, and we're just going to dive right in.
Right.
We have a number of sex
We
questions.
have so many sex. We're going to answer 5 sex questions today.
Woo-hoo.
And P.S., we will give you a thank you shout out for sending us your sex questions. Feel free anytime. Shamelesssex@gmail.com or go to our website, shamelesssex.com, and ask away.
Yes, please.
So the first question comes from, we're just going to call her H. She does identify as a cis female. So I've been with my boyfriend for a year and a half. I'm 21 and he is 29. We have a loving, connected sex that I really enjoy. However, I love oral sex and we almost never partake. He occasionally will let me go down on him, but he always says he would rather finish inside me instead of my mouth. He has never gone down on me, period. At the beginning of our relationship, I brought this up and he said performing oral is not his favorite thing and he only does it with girls he really likes. Ooh. He also said he would rather have penetrative sex as both of us will get pleasure. He said not to worry, that he would definitely go down on me. I haven't mentioned it since and he still has never done it. He's a bit of a germaphobe and I don't want to pressure him. How should I bring this up again? So it's been a year and a half.
Year and a half, no going down.
And she has not brought it up, it sounds like, since then. And
there was offers in the beginning, like, yeah, don't worry, it'll happen, but it only happens when I really like someone. But I think you guys really like each other.
And it sounds like he's using germophobia as maybe a little bit of an escape route to going down.
And FYI, mouths have way more germs than genitals. So if you two are okay with kissing each other, if he's down to kiss you,
if you ever stuck your hand in a bowling ball,
there's
like
a lot
fecal
of germs.
organisms in there.
Yeah, but I mean, kissing is something most people are comfortable with, and just so you know, there's a lot more germs that are transferred in kissing than they are from putting your mouth on someone's genitals. There's a lot more germs in the mouth than genitals. So the germophobia is not really applicable here.
And if it is something I will attest to, my ex-husband was always asking me, which was kind of shaming in a way and made me uncomfortable. Hence my smelling, my vaginal smell situation. But he'd always be like, "Can you please take a shower before we'd partake in any oral play?" So I would.
It's making super squeaky clean.
Right.
Yeah.
He was always kind of up on me about that, and I was like, "What? Do I stink?" He's like, "No, I just want everything to be clean."
He likes clean.
Take shower.
Oh my God. I was actually there when he asked her to take a shower once. 1, 2, 3, shower.
So if that is a thing and you can maybe just bring up, I don't know if the germophobia and showers are interrelated, but if that is something that you believe eases tension, maybe you could be like, "Hey babe, I just took a shower. Let's 69.
Yeah, let's try this. Or maybe even before that, because it sounds like there's some stuff going on. It feels like there's a conversation that needs to happen. So oral sex seems like it doesn't happen very often at all. You are interested in sucking his cock, but he doesn't really want you to that much. He'd rather have penetrative sex and would rather not come in your mouth, would rather come inside of you. So he's got some things around that.
But there's 2 people in this partnership.
Exactly.
So if you're feeling that your needs aren't being met, it's time to talk about it.
Yeah, so I would say have a conversation about it. You love oral sex, and you've had this conversation in the beginning where they said that they would be down, but they have some funny things about it. And a year and a half later, you still haven't had your box munched. So I would say have a conversation with them about it, a loving one. Hey, can I talk to you about something important? When's a good time? Don't just spring on them like, let's talk about this important thing right now. Set a time to talk about it, or maybe right now is a good time. And start with something good, some sort of appreciation. I love connecting with you. I love our sex life. I love our relationship. and there's something I've been thinking about that's important to me. I love oral sex, and we don't really have oral sex. And in the beginning, I know that you said you're a germaphobe and that it's something you only do with girls you really like. I'm pretty sure we really like each other because we've been together for a year and a half. So I'm wondering if that's something we can start to do explore. Maybe we can do 69. And like April said, if germophobia is a thing, we can take showers before.
But never douche. Never, ever douche. Never. It's very bad for you. If you have any smells going on, check out. You could have BV. That is something.
Genitals are supposed to have a smell,
right?
Everyone. They're not supposed to smell like flowers.
But because I learned, because mine was grapefruity, but didn't
or
smell
fish,
normal. Right.
Yeah.
Fishy, grapefruity, anything. If that's something that's happening, just easily, I take Femdophilus. Femdophilus, and that's a probiotic.
You put it in vaginally.
I actually started just taking it every day now.
Oh, okay.
And it's
vaginally or orally?
I take it orally, and then if I'm having something come on, I stick one up there like a suppository.
Yeah, but in the vag.
In the vag.
Yeah.
So if you have any of that stuff going on, if you feel like your smell's off, and maybe that's the reason. I'm just trying to say,
but that's not the thing here. The thing here is this person, their partner doesn't like oral sex, doesn't like going down on them, isn't offering it. It's a year and a half later. They still haven't even offered it. And to me, honestly, I'm going to call selfish. I'm going to call stuck in their ways, and they're not being a giving partner.
But maybe because she hasn't brought it up.
And that's another part.
Yeah.
I don't even know. It's not even clear if in the beginning you said that this is important to you, you love it. They just said that they're not. But anyway, even if you haven't, it still baffles me that someone wouldn't even offer that. So I think a loving conversation should happen here. And who knows? You might come up with some trauma. Maybe they went down on someone and they like bled all over in their face, or told them they were terrible at going down.
And you can also tell them, for instance, I won't come from oral play. So and not to relate it to me, but I like it in the beginning to prep and then going into penetration. So maybe you can suggest something like that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So open up the conversation. It's conversation time. Don't just sit there and expect them after a year and a half later to finally go down on you.
Right. No one's a mind reader.
Okay. So
next question.
Okay. So this person, we can probably use his first name. What do you think? Should we use it?
They didn't say not to.
Yeah, he didn't say. We're not going to use his full name, but we're going to call him Gabe. Hey, Gabe. Okay, so this is
we're not going to use his social security number?
Okay, so social security number is 555-555-555, and you can find him at. Just kidding. Okay, so it's a longer question, but he's married. He's been married for 22 years. I'm going to summarize it. They have kids. They've always had issues with sex. Gabe, who wrote this question, he loves physical intimacy and he wants it to be on a journey, and he wants it to be on a journey with his partner. He compares it to traveling, which I really like. There's a big world out there, and I want to visit these destinations with my wife. Since we got married, it is usually me that initiates any conversations, new things, and sexual times. She will initiate sex about once every other month. She will talk a little bit about sex if I bring it up, but she doesn't really want to talk about it. I've tried to encourage her to think about what she wants, and she says she doesn't know. She always asks me when is it enough? Why isn't what we do good enough? And I say it's not about that. It's about the journey and exploring this together. In the last 6 years, she has been a willing participant in just about everything I ask to do. She enjoys sex. She always has an orgasm. So this week, I've been feeling that maybe she will never want to come on this journey with me, that she will always view sex and intimacy as an act that she does just for me. I have had hope that she would realize how important physical intimacy is in our marriage, but this week I started to lose hope. I told her that I would be affectionate and do the things that she wanted to do, but I would no longer pursue or push her to have sex, that I would always be here if she ever wanted to go on that journey with me. So I actually was saying, gave an email, so I'll just kind of summarize a little bit. I'm not going to read that, but I'm just going to tell you kind of what it was.
And that's a great, and looking at your email, it's a great, I've just started rereading that book as well, because it's so...
Mating in Captivity.
And we've referenced it a bunch of times on this podcast. Yeah. It's an amazing book. If y'all haven't read
Esther
it or
Perel.
Right. And you can actually listen to it on Audible. She's got an amazing accent that's super cute because she speaks Dutch, like 8 languages. No, she's Jewish, Belgium, Belgium Jew.
Okay.
And she speaks 8 languages fluently.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's PhD, doctor, awesomeness.
So this is common. This is common, people. This is a common thing for long-term relationships, for long-term straight relationships, for women to start to think that sex is only there to please their partner. It's a cultural thing. It's a social thing. This is not in every culture, but in American culture, this is actually really, really common. It becomes an obligation, a duty. This has been going on for many, many years.
And when something feels like a job and
you don't really want to do it.
Right. You're like, oh.
And it doesn't mean that someone else pressured them. It's actually probably old conditioning that was never even theirs. It's part of the upbringing. It's part of what we, maybe what the message that their parents gave them or what their mom did with their dad.
It could also be a hormonal flux depending too on where she's at in her, if she's premenopausal, there's some things there.
No, it's been going on forever.
Oh.
So this is a forever, our whole relationship.
Oh, the whole relationship. Oh.
So what I had suggested to this person, I said to read the book Mating in Captivity. It's really wonderful because it talks about how in long-term relationships we want this perfect balance of individuation and attachment, and that doesn't seem like what's going on here. In that it says when we're overly attached, meaning we're with our partner 24/7, we lose desire. When we're too individualized, we're never with them. We're doing our own thing all the time. We don't have enough connection to have desire. So there's a lot of really good things in there, but my question here too, I will go to the last piece. So you said you gave up, Gabe, you gave up. It sounds to me like there's a little defensiveness there. There's some frustration. There's a little bit of like, fine, fuck it, I'm throwing in the towel. And so I'm just curious if this came out of a place of love, or if this came from a place out of fear, meaning I'm just so angry and frustrated or fed up that I'm going to do this thing as a reaction, reactionary move.
Which is never a good place to come from.
Yeah.
It's better to come from a place of love. How can we fix this?
Yeah. So it sounds like I love that you're open to, that you want sex to be a journey. I think that's fucking awesome. I want more men to think of sex that way. I think that's great. It's really unfortunate that your wife isn't on the same page. It sounds like you've tried to have conversations with her. She instead gets defensive and feels pressured. So it sounds to me like you're at a crossroads of either letting her know how important if this is important to you. If this isn't that important to you, you can have a sexless marriage. It doesn't sound like that's what you want. The other option is people start having a sexless marriage and they start seeking outside sources, either by negotiating that into their relationship, or meaning you sleep with other people and your partner knows about it, or you start cheating. That's also very common. I'm not necessarily condoning that, but these are some of your options you have. The other option is you say, this is really important to me, dear partner, and this is a need. This is a valid need to have closeness and intimacy and close connection and to feel wanted and desired by my partner. And we've tried to work on this together. This isn't working. Are you willing to work on this with me? And if she is, then I would suggest you to go start working with a sex and relationship coach or a therapist.
Buy the book Mating in Captivity and read it at night together.
Read it together, but go get help, because
definitely.
You're beyond this. Like it's beyond. They're not working and having conversations with each other at this point,
right?
And seems like she's pretty stuck in her belief about what sex should be. And again, I'm not saying it's necessarily your fault or her fault that she thinks it's an obligation. And there's a really great thing, actually. If you go to Audible, you can listen to a free episodes that Esther Perel released called, I think it's called Where Do We Begin? Go search Esther Perel. And it's like 30 to 40-minute episodes of her actually doing live pre-recorded sessions with people.
She did couples therapy for years of all sorts of different ages.
Yeah.
Right.
And one of the episodes is about exactly this.
Right.
It's a sexless marriage where one of the women thinks of sex as an obligation. And for the male partner, he's really frustrated. He wants her to be interested in sex, and it just feels really empty. And so there's some really great information there. And what Esther Perel says is they both need to learn how to regard sex in a way to reframe it away from a job or obligation, and how can they make sex for her. And so this is the other thing with your wife. You ask her, what is she like? She doesn't even know. She needs to start asking those questions and taking time to get in tune with her desire and her sensuality and her sexuality if she wants to change sex as being just a thing that's for you. What can she do for herself to make it for her? as well.
I love that chapter when she talks about the flannel pajama chapter when you just like end up in, I think about, I have friends that I'm like, how do you, 'cause they won't have sex. And I'll be like, do you feel sexy at night? Like, do you want to have sex? No.
We've been talking about sweatpants like every episode. Right?
Yeah. and I'm like, well, maybe get out of those sweatpants.
Yeah.
And try to, have yourself feel sexy. Look in the mirror. Tell yourself how beautiful you are. Do your hair and grab them. Get on top.
Yeah.
If you're feeling sexless. But you're right. This is a deeper ingrained situation. So, Gabe, check out the resources. Utilize your tools. There's so many tools out there.
Yeah. That episode would be really good. The other thing she says in there too, which is kind of what you're already doing, I think she suggests that for a while, as the woman who's lost the desire, who thinks of sex as an obligation, for a while, she actually tells the husband in this couple in the therapy session, he actually can't initiate sex for a while.
Right. I remember that.
Remember that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he actually that's off the table because every time it's going to feel pressuring for her. Mm-hmm. And so, but on the flip side, if the female partner, she wants to start working on this, she actually has to start initiating sex, but in a way that works for her.
Right.
So the kind of sex that she wants, maybe it's not penetrative
Maybe
sex.
she's wearing some high heels and nothing else.
Yeah. Or
just like for your birthday, I try to have them put sushi all over me, so you'd have to eat it off of me yesterday.
Why didn't that happen?
Because
shit.
that would have been great.
Yeah. So check it out, Esther Perel. Go look on Audible, Mating in Captivity. She has a lot of great TED Talks, and then I think it's called Where Do We Begin for her episodes, and I think it's called like Sexless or Sexless Marriage in the episode. Thank you,
Gabe.
Okay, this is another one that we need to summarize.
Yes.
Can we say their name? Yes, I think so. Kirk. Hey, Kirk. Okay.
Hi, Kirk.
So, all right. So Kirk's a listener. They listen to all kinds of good sex podcasts.
Love Line, Savage Lovecast. Yes.
They have a lot of so we're going to summarize this a little bit. They're concerned about a curiosity gap in educating himself in regards to himself and his partner as sexual beings, meaning he's really interested in learning more about openness, including non-monogamy, like Chris Ryan's book, Sex at Dawn, whereas his partner very much is not. My girlfriend seems to have less interest in sexuality beyond direct experience. Of course, that's the most important thing. Yet, she seems wary of treating sexuality and her sexual self as anything more than immediate experience as a topic. It doesn't seem to be a place her curiosity thrives, and it does with other topics. Then I sense she gets wary or bored of my curiosity about sexuality and my attempts to discuss new ideas with her. She, according to her, trying something new we try in sex should be natural or spontaneous and not part of some bigger idea or curiosity. Ooh, yeah. So how can I help sexuality be a subject we share in, enjoy processing, and not be a source of distance between us? So, yeah. So, okay. So essentially, it sounds like your partner, she's kind of uncomfortable talking about sex, is what I'm getting. And that she also thinks that sex should be a natural or spontaneous thing that just happens, and that there's not a lot of conversation about, probably because it's uncomfortable. There's a lot of shame.
She just kind of, it seems like, isn't interested in exploring anything else and thinks it should just be like, oh, PIV, penis and vagina. That's all.
Let's just do it, but not talk about it.
Only missionary.
Yeah, and let's not have to learn about it. Yeah.
Which is difficult because I feel like there's a lot of folks out there that are stuck in that rut. I was stuck in that rut for years, where I just had boring sex and I only wanted to do.
Did you even like it?
No. Oh. That was with my boyfriend when I lived in Santa Cruz last time.
I know that guy.
Yeah. And I was on birth control. I was never horny. So
you weren't even asking for more. You were just having missionary, boring sex. Was it like the obligation?
Mm-hmm. And and sometimes we go weeks and weeks without sex. And I was like, it's been a month and we're in our 20s. Like, what is going on? And I was like, I don't want sex. Yeah. So I feel I was this person, this girlfriend of yours.
Okay, but if your ex-partner were to be at the time you're together, they were like, hey, let's talk about sex. Let's learn some things. Would you have shut them down? I mean,
no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't have shut him down
because you guys weren't even having those conversations.
No,
this person, Kirk, is asking their partner, "Hey, I want to start talking about these things so that we can learn things and maybe try new things, or at least just expand our minds and regard it as something that we're curious. Like it's like there's always room for growth and to learn more,
which is
And
cool
she's
on his
kinda
part.
like,
And she's like, no,
shouldn't be that way.
She probably has some trauma.
Or just shame.
Or shame.
Well, around conversations about sexuality.
Because it is, look, I grew up in the shaming Midwest. I mean,
Wisconsin.
literally at the mystery spot when we were there, the gentleman.
went there for my birthday yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. The gentleman, our tour guide, as soon as I told him I sold sex toys, he was from Minnesota. He literally ran away. Like he was scared. He's like, oh my. I was like, dude, it's all good. So coming from that space, I still, I used to get really uncomfortable speaking openly about sex, and perhaps this partner she's uncomfortable maybe because she doesn't know how to approach it. So I'd suggest there's so many books that she could look at and kind of to give her some education, knowledge.
It's a practice, right? Like the reason why you're so good at it now, April, is because you've been practicing, right? Like I brought you to got your first job in a sex toy store when you never even owned
I sold
a sex
more
toy
butt
before.
plugs than anyone, but I never had anal sex.
And you started practicing those conversations, and then it became more normalized. So for her, she's one of the many people, this is more common than not, people who are raised to think that you're not supposed to talk about these things and that sex should just be spontaneous and natural and that there shouldn't be all this work and effort into spicing it up and et cetera, which is complete bullshit.
No. And you don't want that to happen.
No, because that is not how it works.
Create energy flow and create a really some goals where you can, I don't know, achieve like greatness. Every sexual experience doesn't have to be like topping the last, but you can try some new things. I think that is awesome. It's easy to get stuck in a rut. It really is.
Well, so here I think, again, it's time for a conversation. This is obviously really, really important for you. It sounds like you've had conversations, but for you to be like really clear that this is important to me for us to have these conversations. It doesn't mean we have to like completely open up and be in a polyamorous relationship and like fuck all kinds of other people or whatever. But I want to continue growing in this department forever. I want to continue learning, and it's important to me to have a partner that does that with me. It doesn't have to be like, exactly on my same page where you're as excited about it as I am, but I want to be able to share this with you. This is important. Are you willing to go on this journey for me? Okay, you are. Let's just start by listening to podcasts together on sex. Let's start reading a book together, listening to an audible book together about sexuality. Just start learning about new topics and have conversations about it. And it's going to be uncomfortable and weird at first because you're not used to these kind of conversations, but it's just going to get easier because it's all practice.
Absolutely. And I think that perhaps knowing that there are so many, this is the perfect time. It's like a sexual revolution, like the 60s reborn, because people are getting more open about conversation. So there's podcasts available now, there's books, there's so many tools that can help normalize it for this person. Mm-hmm. And I think that utilize those tools. Do it together if she doesn't want to go out on her own and do it. But podcasts are great. Slip it on at night.
Yeah, or when you guys are in a drive together, or
listen
whatever.
To the sound of our voices.
Hey, Kirk's partner.
All right, cool. Next.
But yeah, kudos to you for wanting to continue learning about sex. We love you.
Yeah, no kidding.
You're awesome.
All right, we've got ERP here.
Okay, so
let's see.
Okay, so this person has trauma from previous relationship,
right?
And now they're in a new relationship. Or they're talking to someone, their new relationship, and can I just summarize it?
Mm-hmm. Go for it.
Okay, so it's something. So they have some trauma in a previous relationship. Is this a person that identifies as E? E is their name. This new relationship, they wanted to wait to have sex with this person because they thought that was a good thing to do, the right thing to do, which I have something to say about that. But around the fifth time, they ended up having sex. They weren't able to contain themselves. And now the sex has brought up some insecurities that stem from their previous relationship, meaning specifically that they have these fears that their new person that they're sleeping with only likes them for their body, and now they feel like an object for sex, which might not even be happening. It just comes from the previous trauma. And so they're wondering, can I communicate this to my new partner? Should I? There's some fear about it. Do you think it would be a good idea? And if so, would all of that be okay to say?
Hell yeah, lay it out.
Lay it out.
Lay it
And of course, you're not blaming because you're already saying,
You're like,
this is
hey.
previous trauma. I actually don't even think this has anything to do with you, but this is what's going on. And if you don't talk about this with your person, you're going to be all in your head when you're having sex.
It's not going to be good for you.
No,
Not
you're
gonna have fun.
You're not going to be present. You're just
Yeah.
going to be thinking about this the whole time. So make sure you convey, this isn't your fault. You're not doing anything wrong. This is some stuff, like some baggage from a previous relationship, but this is what's coming up for me. I'm getting really insecure, and this stuff about being a sex object is coming up, and I just need to get clear with you so that I'm not going through all this when we're touching. And maybe here are some ways that you could help me work with this. Maybe you could spend more time holding me or adoring me or, praising me or doing something that makes me helps me to feel a little more cherished or something.
Desired.
Yeah, but not as a desire, because you can be a sex object. Desires could contribute to being a sex object. I'm thinking more of like, you're precious and I don't just want to fuck you. I just want to take good care of you,
I think it's tricky because they're so new and they might be openly dating other people. So I can understand because having a little bit of fear and being open. But I say, and I think we talked about this when we read this earlier, go for it and be open, because if the guy does kind of give you the rejection, then move on and find someone awesome that is going to honor you and actually appreciate the fact that you're being open and asking for these things and trying to grow the relationship. And intimacy like that is only going to make you closer.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, if you want to get close to this, if you plan on getting close to this person, vulnerability is a part of it. Showing our vulnerability, having tough conversations like this, supporting each other through things like this. So, no, this is not something that you need to keep to yourself. I think it is. We both, April and I, think it's a good idea to have this conversation with them.
Definitely.
So many things that need conversations in these questions. It's like, what it always comes down to is like time to talk.
But that's something that is sometimes frustrating, and maybe listeners feel that. Like, there's a lot of other resources that was like, have a conversation, communicate. It's all about communication. Hopefully we're giving you examples of how to communicate as well, so you're feeling confident and like you have the proper layout to address these things that are coming up in life. So to you, E, go and talk to the new guy, as you call him, the new guy.
You sound like you're from like Brooklyn.
Yeah, that was what I was going for.
Say it again.
I'm from Brooklyn. Yeah. Yo, E, talk to the new guy.
Thanks, E.
Okay.
Awesome.
So we have
Next.
one last one that we're going to read today.
Yoo-hoo. Oh, damn. This is a long one.
This is a long one, but Amy, you...
Oh, yeah, I did kind of already summarize this one. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so this person is turning 60. They are...
We can call him Ray.
Can we call him Ray? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Ray. Okay. They are 60 years old. They are now dating someone new. It's awesome. They have this great connection. He is giving her orgasms. They're having, so
Mind-blowing orgasms.
Mind-blowing
And I quote,
orgasms. And he's feeling like his pecker, he used that word, pecker, is not really getting as hard as it used to.
I kind of love that he called it a pecker.
I know. No, he says some wonderful things. I would like to read one of them, actually. He's wondering if you have any recommendations on how he can keep it up till he's 99. Any supplements or exercises or anything? I've never tried Viagra or anything because I'm Mr. Natural Organic Vegan, and that sounds like a pharmaceutical to me. I don't use any others, so I can't say I trust that one. I just don't like the idea of not being able to perform like I used to, and the rest of my body works better now than it did 20 years ago, so why not my bone too? So I love this.
I love this guy.
Yeah. And there's a little more to it, but it's mostly about that. He's asking about what about toys? He doesn't even know if she's into toys, but what are our suggestions?
Well,
Bone.
First of all, kudos for you for wanting to just be rock hard and pleasure that stuff.
There's also a desire for them to have simultaneous orgasms. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, you could do the edging thing. Edging is fun.
Yeah,
we've talked about that before on the Divine Masculine episode about edging.
Yeah.
But so I wouldn't turn to Viagra or Cialis or anything like that quite yet. I think that's almost like a fake dick, and I think it can kind of be hard, no pun intended, to actually ejaculate on, if I can recall, because it's for longevity.
Well, you can you can definitely ejaculate with. But
doesn't it take a long time or something?
Does it affect ejaculation?
Right.
I'm actually not 100% sure. I don't think it like it doesn't make it difficult, but I don't know if it makes it prolongs things. But I kind of think it's just a blood flow thing.
Is it you ejaculate and then it still stays hard?
Yeah, you can still get hard again. See, that's the thing. You don't have the same refractory period because they can just stay hard, or they can just stay hard longer. But I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it just makes it easier to get hard again. You could still be tired. Like, "Rrr." And I don't, yeah. So erections, like, yes, there's a physical thing that happens as we age. They change. Like you're 60 years old. Yeah, your dick's not going to get as hard as when you were 20. That's kind of how it works. And a lot of erectile issues are related to more of a mental thing as opposed to a physical thing. Quite often they're related to an internal story. I'm not going to get hard. I don't get hard. I never get hard. I'm going to go soft again. And then you do exactly that. You psych yourself out. Or if there's shame or pressure from a partner who's shamed you for not getting hard, oh God, you're soft again, or why can't you be hard? Or I just want a big hard dick. Why isn't your dick hard enough? And things like that. And or if there's even like resentment in the relationship, of course your dick's not going to get hard for the partner. But it sounds here it's an age,
right? And it looks like his partner, it's new partnership. Looks like she's being pretty open, supportive and open.
Yeah, and there's this great connection, and he wants to put magic deep inside of her.
He quotes.
Yeah, his is her favorite thing so far is for me bringing her to the mountaintop with my tongue, then going in deep with dongy to blow the top straight off the mountain, just like Mount Vesuvius or Haleakala, Mount St. Helens, where we both explode together. I love this person. They're great.
Yeah.
So
are there what I can't remember. I was reading about a specific herbal supplement.
Arginine is something that you can buy at your local health food store that works with blood flow. It pushes blood into the face and the genitals. Now, if you get herpes or cold sores, arginine is not your best friend because it pushes blood in the face and genitals. It can actually give you an outbreak. So if herpes is something that you're dealing with, you might not want to, but yeah, you can take arginine and it can help with blood flow. It sounds like this person still gets erections. They're not completely gone though. So we have some blood flow here is what I'm hearing. If you get some blood flow, here's some toys. Okay. So you get some blood flow. Bam. You get a little blood flow in your cock, put on a cock ring. The cock ring will help to keep that blood there and create that stronger, firmer erection.
We just launched the Atom and the Atom Plus, and you can get 20% off, Ray. If you go to hotoctopus with 2s's.com, use shameless sex, all lowercase, and you will get yourself the best cock ring on the market. No joke.
And the way they're worn, they go around the testicles and the cock. If you just put a cock ring on the head of the cock, it's not going to do anything. If you put it around the balls and the cock, that's what helps to keep the blood there. And do it when you already have a little bit of blood in the cock. Unless it's metal, then that's a whole different story. But we're not recommending metal.
No.
You have to really know what you're doing.
The one that I just mentioned is vibrating, so she can it can give her vulva stimulation if she's grinding on it.
Yeah, when you're touching.
Yeah, nice. We talked about this on last episode. Yeah.
And we actually talked about erections on the last episode.
So definitely check out that episode if you
40.
haven't yet, Ray.
Yeah, so I would try playing with cock rings and to see if they can help to create a stronger, firmer erection. There's also a harness called the Deuce harness by Spare Parts that is awesome. So something you wear. It has 2 holes. The top hole you put a dildo in, any dildo of your choosing, any size, any color, any shape. And it just has to have a base that can fit into a harness. The bottom hole is for your homegrown cock to hang out in. So you have a hard dildo and then your cock. And the cool thing about this is you can use it for double penetration, or you can, when your cock isn't rock hard and you still want to penetrate, you can still have sex with the dildo, and it feels like to her that you're still fucking her with your own cock because it's in the exact same position where your cock would be, and your cock is still accessible, so you can still rub it with hands. She can rub it with your hands, and then maybe it gets hard, and then you just take out the dildo and you switch the cock. So that's a great choice for something to spice it up and play with. And I think when our bodies age and they change, one of the important things is to accept and embrace it and learn to work with it, as opposed to shaming yourself and saying, what's wrong with me? I'm broken. I wish I was the way I used to, because you're not, right? And all of us are going to do that. It's just part of it. So It's a matter of, okay, where are we now? Where am I now?
I don't get as wet as I used to, so I use lube. You know,
Exactly.
it's like it's just adapting.
Yeah, exactly. And where am I now? What are my needs now? Like what are my desires? Where do I want to go? So you want to go to like, penetration, simultaneous orgasm town. Okay. Well, here's your tools of what you can work with, and bring that up. And you said that you don't even know if she's into sex toys. So before you order them, I would have a conversation with her about that.
Or go shopping together. That's always a fun date night.
Totally.
Look up your local sex shop and go check out some products together.
Yep. Yeah, we have the Deuce at Pure Pleasure Shop. You can go to purepleasureshop.com and get the Deuce harness.
You can also check out our sex toy episode. We'd make some good suggestions for things.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that you can do here in terms of without having to go the Viagra
Does horny
route.
goat weed work, or does it just have the name horny goat weed?
I don't really know enough about horny
Remember
goat
those
weed.
dick pills that we used to have in Pure Pleasure back then? Wow.
I saw them somewhere.
I know, we were together. And
Where
we saw
were we?
Those actually are supposed to work, but I think they got banned by
They got banned
by the
I
government.
think they were like, I'm pretty sure there's Viagra in them, and because the pharmaceutical company heavily regulates.
But they were quote unquote natural. But the pharmaceutical companies regulate because
they want money.
They want money, and the politicians are paid by them. So, but we support your Mr. Natural, Organic, Vegan ways, Ray.
And this is the other thing I'll say, and we said this in the last episode, so actually I'm not going to say much about it, but go back to episode 40. We talk about erections and playing with soft cocks. There's plenty of things you can do with a cock that is not rock hard, and so that you can use your soft cock and your external genitals to rub all on her external genitals and probably give her some wonderful orgasms from that too, because that's where most of her nerve endings are anyways. So I don't want to say that you always have to have this perfect rock hard cock to give someone mind-blowing orgasms.
You're still on it, Ray. Thank you for reaching out, Ray, and asking us some awesome questions and giving us some really cool things to paraphrase and to quote. So I think that we should probably wrap the sex questions for today. We answered 5 of your questions. We'll probably release another bonus episode as we have a bunch more questions to answer. But thank you for tuning into the bonus episode on this Friday, I guess, when it releases.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share?
I think that's it. Montosaurus Rex, our dog mascot, is now napping on the floor, and he says, thank you, everyone, for being so awesome and supporting Shameless Sex.
So keep listening. Share with your friends, neighbors, family, anyone that you think will benefit from the Shameless Sex ways. The gardener.
Not the guy at the mystery spot.
The mystery spot guy. I was like, do you listen to podcasts? He's like, no. I was like, okay.
Never mind.
So we love our listeners. Thanks again. If you haven't done so yet, write us a review, please. 5 stars if you think we're worthy of it. And we will see you next Tuesday, everybody. Ciao for now.
Don't forget to head on over to our website at shamelesssex.com for more. And for 15% off of some of our favorite sex toys, use coupon code SHAMELESSPP in all caps at purepleasureshop.com.